Namaskar. It's a connected world today like never before. What with the digital platform, internet, and the new innovative technologies. And given these innovations, it's of paramount importance to understand the implications of the same for the broadcasting industry, particularly from the copyrights perspective. With that objective in mind, recently in New Delhi, the 21st ABU Copyright Committee meeting was held that saw in attendance delegates from different countries. The Asia Pacific Broadcasting Union, or the ABU, was formed in 1964. It's a non-profit, non-government, professional association of broadcasters which organizes cooperative meetings among its members. Speaking at the Copyright Committee meeting, Mr. Jawad Motagi, Secretary General of the ABU, stressed on the emerging challenges related to copyrights.
I would like to begin by welcoming you all to the 21st ABU Copyright meeting in New Delhi. Let me take this first opportunity to thank our host, Prasabhati, for being wonderful. Please join me in giving a big hand to Prasabhati. The ABU Copyright Committee has been actively working for over a decade on Broadcasters Treaty, among other copyright issues. ABU members have been immensely involved in WIPO SCCR meetings, and I congratulate you for the continuous effort in this respect. I have been informed that particularly in the last SCCR meeting, the ABU had some progress, especially with delegations of China, Sri Lanka, and Korea. This is good news for us, and I hope we continue to make such progress in the coming SCCR meetings. It is going to continue to be very important for broadcasters to demonstrate a united stand, and the ABU Secretariat will be fully supporting you in this way. I'm sure that all this hard work will see the light in our members continue to support each other and the good work that broadcasters are doing. The ABU is the biggest broadcasting union in the world. In such a diverse situation, we have 275 members, and we have obligation to help protecting copyright issues when it comes to the production of producers, artists, musics, and so many good things that broadcasters are doing in this region. How we can do that? We can do that with collective wisdom. We can do it if we come with one voice to Geneva meeting, not only with the ABU members, but also with other broadcasting unions that are supporting the same cause. So I would urge all our members to talk to the governments and policymakers to ensure that we can achieve what the broadcasters have to achieve in protecting the right of your production. Last year, I promised that ABU will allocate more budget to activities related to Copyright Committee. We did so. I'm pleased to announce that we even would be able to increase that in the year to come and in the next fiscal year, and I hope that Copyright Committee could best use this opportunity.
As members of the ABU, both Doordarshan and All India Radio have been actively associated with the ABU activities. Mr. Jawahar Sarkar, Chief Executive Officer Prasar Bharati, has also been elected as the Vice President of the Union among the 113 members at the ABU General Assembly. Speaking at the 21st Copyright Committee meeting in New Delhi, Mr. Sarkar stressed and encouraged increased awareness related to intellectual property rights.
Broadcasters have a double function. We create copyrights, we pay for performances, we own rights, and therefore we need to protect them. That is the first role. The second is that we also pay for copyrights, we pay for rights for re-telecasting, rebroadcasting. So there are two distinct issues involved. As you are aware, radio has a limitation of it's getting increasingly limited through FM circles. Each transmission is no more left to hundreds of kilometers of either shortwave or medium wave. So each transmission over radio is getting to be limited to the circle of 35 to say 60 kilometers. That's all. FM is rounding the world, and on the FM mode, you cannot reach beyond a particular point. Therefore, the supremacy of waves that the radio broadcasters once enjoyed, that once having broadcast it, it would reach hundreds and thousands of miles, does not exist with us. So how do we tackle this? I'm talking on behalf of the broadcasters. If some station brings out very superior quality products, superior broadcasts, and people all over the world, people all over the country would like to listen to it, we have only one alternative, and that is to go on the net. The net, as you know, is a universal sphere. The question that bogged Prasar Bharati for almost a decade plus is how frightening is a copyright law on the net. Therefore, the best of production of radio programs would be telecast within a small zone and left to peter out, depriving the rest of the world from the product that has been created with so much love and care because of the sheer fright of copyright. Now, as a broadcaster, my duty is to see that my broadcast reaches the end of the earth. And with internet services becoming so much popular, with music on the net, music on the waves, music on different platforms becoming so much popular, would be standing in one corner and depriving ourselves and the world of what we have produced? That was a question I posed. After a lot of deliberations, we set up a lot of committees on copyrights and a lot of other things on copyrights, and finally decided one day that out of sheer exasperation at the cobwebs and the spider webs surrounding the whole issue, to cut the Gordian knot. We decided to send a letter across to the rights holders that we would like to put it up on the net. Do you have any objection? You would not believe the result, because I shall repeat this for the rest of my life. Not one major rights holder objected. Not one. Do you understand the issue? That means our people were simply taking refuge on the issue of a frightening copyright laws, standing on the shores of water, looking at the water and deciding whether there were crocodiles or alligators in it. Basically, gentlemen and ladies, we are broadcasters first and law-abiding citizens first. But let us not make one issue into such a problem that we cripple ourselves. This is called, I'm sure Chairman would agree, what we call paralysis by analysis. It's called paralysis by analysis. We paralyze ourselves on copyright. Now, having said that, I spoke to many rights holders. I spoke to some of the biggest rights holders in the world, and they said, look, brother, we really don't have any objection because our music reaches there. And we can always settle amounts for about 10 to 20 to 30% more on what we are paying them for broadcast on other than broadcast rights. Other than broadcast rights. So my humble submission is that these issues need to be taken, looked squarely into the eye by broadcasters, keeping in mind the need for probity, the need for respect of the law, and not stand paralyzed on the shores of a lake, wondering how the water, whether the water is cold or hot. This is where your contribution comes a lot. That's my second point. All the deliberations made in committees, all the advisories issued by ABU or WIPO remain confined to small circles. It is time to translate them into meaningful short messagings and pass them on to every person who prepares a program or transmits a program. I end up by saying that the two submissions that I made of communication and clarity of purpose should be remembered.
Dr. A. Surya Prakash, Chairperson Prasar Bharati, shared his experience at the Copyright Committee meeting as to how we could address the challenges related to copyrights, piracy, and intellectual property rights.
Media technology has changed rapidly. The current media environment is at its most vibrant and evolving, along with all the new developments and challenges. This meeting on the issue of copyright, therefore, is very timely. I am sure today's meeting will provide the members with a platform to discuss the path for the future and on how we can move ahead. Probably 2 billion human beings, who have access to the internet. Probably most of them or all of them are violating some copyright law or the other every day. That is the complexity of the media situation that has emerged now, as against what it was, say, 50 years ago. So when we talk of media now, and where people are just downloading and uploading and forwarding material all the time, it's a very complex issue. Greater awareness needs to be created to recognize the complexity of rights management in a multi-platform environment, and particularly progressive action needs to be taken to curb challenges arising out of piracy and rights infringement. On this occasion, I would like to extend my appreciation to the ABU Copyright Committee, which has shared its expertise and valuable insights with union members to encourage and assist each other on new challenges on copyright issues. I hope the learning continues and you have a meaningful meeting here in New Delhi. Prasar Bharati has a huge archival content yet to be exploited. It is a national resource that needs to be either monetized or disseminated free of cost to the public as a duty of the public service broadcaster. For example, the recordings of national leaders is a national treasure, which should be made available to people free of cost. Generally, we get these demands from people regularly. Similarly, Prasar Bharati has a lot of classical music content. In fact, that is the treasure that is there in the All India Radio archives. But the unfortunate part is that we are not aware of all the IPRs associated with it, even though we have recorded them in our studios. They were recorded at a time when such rights did not exist and so many formats were not available. Now, every content has several rights associated with it. All this needs clarity, and similarly in regard to sports content, which is another area of concern, as this content is of very high value and has high repeat value. I hope this meeting and forum on copyright will deliberate these issues in detail and will bring some insights to these burning issues.
Mr. Fayaz Shahryar, Director General, All India Radio, gave his concluding remarks at the inaugural session of the 21st ABU Copyright Committee meeting.
Copyright issue has engaged attention of all of us, in particular Prasar Bharati, for past quite some time, especially when the technological advancements took place. Various reasons for that, and the reasons that created a kind of atmosphere of anguish, they are media and entertainment industry is one of the most fascinating and throbbing industries in the world, and India is not an exception. The projected compound annual growth rate, CAGR, is 6 to 7% between 2014 and 2018. In India, the total size of M&E industry by the end of 2013 is 918 billion rupees. Mind-boggling judged by any standards. A new dimension that has been added in recent years is the new media. The digital divide is fast disappearing, even in the so-called developing countries or Asia. Digital advertising in India registered the highest growth of 38.7% in 2013 over 2012 among different industries such as television, print, films, radio, and so on. According to industry estimates, the internal penetration in 2013 was 17% in India in absolute terms. It will be very high given the size of the country. Performers and broadcasters have a symbiotic relationship. The digital era brought in its wake certain problems relating to intellectual property rights, as hitherto the agreement between artists, whether lyricists, singers, instrumentalists, or playwrights, and a broadcasting organization merely covered the traditional media. Cyber laws are still in a state of evolution. Performing artists claim higher remuneration owing to higher exposure with the availability of digital technologies and platforms. AIR and Doordarshan is engaged in evolving agreements that encompass both the traditional media and the new media. The catch is whether it calls for payment of higher royalty fee. We are happy that Asia Pacific Broadcasting Union Copyright Committee is meeting at the most opportune moment to identify problems, share experiences, and find solutions to that broadcasters are protected when it comes to copyright issues.
The ABU Copyright Committee meeting began with an inaugural session that was followed by many technical sessions, where the participating delegates shared their broadcasting experience and their experience related to copyrights and intellectual property rights. The technical sessions saw in attendance delegates from different nations like Japan, China, Sri Lanka, and Switzerland. Mr. Cho, with time we have seen a lot of new technologies emerge. What are the challenges relating to copyrights and intellectual property rights that the broadcasters are facing globally now?
Well, including KBS, all broadcasters in the world are facing a lot of new type of piracy problems, and it is very with high technology, so it is not easy to crack down all kind of piracies. It is type of digital types of piracies. So we are trying to stop them, but there is an apparent limit. So I believe we need to focus on another way to stop them.
What have been the outcomes of the deliberation so far?
So far so good. It's very useful to have people like us to get together and discuss on the solutions of the problem. The problem is widespread. It's a global problem. It's no longer a local problem. And really the industry players need to sit together to find a way to tackle the problem.
So that the generators of the content are happy to take their creativity to different countries. At the same time, they can address the copyrights and piracy issue.
Well, there's been a lot of developments in the U.S. copyright area recently in the last year or so. One of them talked about how some broadcasters and new technology, and the new technology can take a broadcast and then subscribers can buy it, but the original broadcasters really own that content. So our Supreme Court said that the new technology, even though it technically may have been appropriate under the former copyright law, is now they would need to get a license to do that. So licensing is one way to do it. And another big issue that just came up fairly recently in the lower court was music. I'm sure you've heard a lot of different music where they take older songs and recast them and put different music to it and different tempo. And there's just been a ruling that may not be permitted, but that's a lower court ruling, and it's already in the appeals process. So it's very dynamic, and all of these, even in the U.S., which we've updated our copyright law. I think the last time was in 1976. It needs to be updated again to take into account all the challenges brought about by digital media and the internet.
Do you think there's enough legislation which could act as a deterrent for somebody who illegally takes the content of a broadcaster?
on behalf of the Asia Pacific region, if I have to say, it is very difficult to give a general statement. There are certain countries like India and Malaysia and Australia who have very strong legal framework within their national law that allows for protection to be provided. How those laws are implemented is a different discussion altogether. But there are certain other countries which are still developing, like in the Pacific, Mongolia, or even countries like Bangladesh, who are still trying to struggle with implementing stricter laws that can be put into use.
ABU Copyright Committee and its members will have the opportunity to dialogue extensively, educate each other, explore new information, and collaborate on action plan for copyright and IP practitioners from broadcasting industry. I come from a programming background and have to deal with producing and scheduling the best content possible and help bring the magic of content filled with news, entertainment and information to the audience's living rooms, or should I say, to their handphones or other devices in this digital age. It is the broadcaster signals that is vital for ensuring that this process of produced content reaches its desired destination. There is no doubt that this signal is an important element, and it needs to be protected. I understand that broadcasting organizations such as ABU, EBU, WBU, NABA, NAB, AUB, ACT, and others, along with government delegations, have been working tirelessly in trying to bring this protection to the broadcasters for the last 10 years. We have members from ABU who have been immensely involved in this process, and I congratulate you for the persistence. I'm sure all this hard work will see the light if our members continue to support each other and the good work. The ABU legal department has been instrumental in instigating such positive progress in collaboration with its members, and we look forward to seeing the deepening of such cooperation in the future also. The theme for this year's forum is issues of copyright use and protection in the digital era. It is a timely topic, and understanding copyright and related rights in the changing digital era will be extremely important. I would request all of you to keep in mind that this platform gives you an opportunity to opening your doorways to teach and learn on important issues bridging the copyright world.
Copyright always help broadcasting industry to protect the content, to protect the broadcasting organizations. There was a question raised recently whether broadcasting organizations whose content delivered basically through the television or the new devices available now can form a society. Yes. If you look at the section 39A of the Copyright Act, other provisions are applicable to broadcasting reproduction right. Whether forming a copyright society by the broadcasters when the content used in various restaurants and hotels. I'm not talking about the live content. I'm talking about the recorded content. A recorded content used in many flights. You don't want to watch any film, you go and watch some TV program in sitting in the flight. So all this have to be done through licensing. So instead of an individual broadcaster licensing it, through a society this can be possible, forming a copyright society and then licensing to various users, whether hotels, restaurants, or programming used by the various airlines, etc. Government of India, in the amendment of the Copyright Act, introduced statutory license for broadcasting, both TV broadcasting and radio broadcasting. Here clearly mentioned there are three different kind of music rights are there. One is the performing right. Performing right is performance of the lyrics, literary works of the author, a song written by the Javed Akhtar, music composed by the A.R. Rahman, the musical rights. So both authors and composers form a society called Performing Rights Society. So that is one right. So a license has to be taken from them. And then when song is recorded, the master recording copy is owned by the sound recording company. That is duplicated and the copies are sold. So when you're playing a CD, so you are exploiting not only the performing right, the sound recording right. So second license you have to take. The amendments recognize the importance of performer's right. So the singers who have been marginalized till now, they got that right in the copyright amendments. So every broadcaster has to take not only the license from the Performing Right Association, the Music Rights Association for the sound recording. Third is Performers Society. So Prasar Bharatiya or any private FM playing a song, they have to take 3 licenses. So it is again cumbersome for them. So that is the reason why we introduced statutory license. So you need not go in negotiating mode with all 3 organizations. So what you do is for 3 rights, 3 separate royalties are set by the Copyright Board in advance. You give a notice to them that you're exploiting the repertoire of songs available with those societies. And then what you do, you pay the advance and start using the music. And then you settle the accounts. So if right owner has any problem, he will come and examine your accounts there, whether you're maintaining accounts properly or not, because it is all logged content delivery system you follow in All India Radio or private FM or television broadcasting. So each and every broadcasting is a logged broadcasting, unlike unlogged content delivery happens in airlines or restaurant or hotel. So these accounts, they were allowed to inspect. So these are the important developments happen.
Personally, I think it is a wonderful opportunity for us to exchange expertise and information about the copyright issues, especially the Broadcasters Treaty, which is now under discussion at WIPO at the moment, in order to protect the updated copyright and copyright for broadcasters. I think exchanging information and mutual understanding is very important. And so I think for this purpose, I think this is the best opportunity for us to deepen our understanding and make a good team and proceed as a team in the whole Asian region as well. So I'm looking forward to talking with the members, and I'm sure that this opportunity will be a fruitful one.
There are a lot of members, as usual, coming from various countries, member countries and the member organizations of ABU for this copyright meeting. And once again, it's every year we meet and discuss copyright related issues with regard to broadcasting and the broadcasting organizations.
We need to discuss some core topic with regard to what we can do for the copyright protection. When we are meeting all the piracy in the new media, in the internet, in mobile, when we are meeting the old television industry, this is a core problem for us to meet. So we have to be gathered together, discuss all the important topics, and we will exchange ideas, and we will make proposals and make it happen, and make our broadcasting industry to be better and better in the future.